This is a war hero, and he's a very, very good boy. His name is Sergeant Stubby, and he is the only dog to earn the rank of Sergeant through combat. Stubby was found wandering the grounds of Yale University in 1917. Members of the 102nd Infantry found him whilst training, and a young corporal named James Robert Conroy instantly fell in love with him. When it came time for the outfit to ship off during World War I, Conroy stashed Stubby on board their troop ship. When they arrived in France, Conroy attempted to hide Stubby in his overcoat, but was discovered by his commanding officer. Upon detection, Stubby saluted the officer, as he had been trained to do so back at camp, and the rest is history. Sergeant Stubby entered combat on February 5, 1918, and was under constant fire day and night for well over a month. He stayed in the trenches of France for a year and a half and participated in 17 battles and 4 offensives. Stubby sustained some injuries while in the line of duty. He was once wounded in the foreleg by retreating Germans chucking hand grenades. He also survived a mustard gas attack, but quickly recovered and returned to the trenches with a gas mask specially designed to protect him. He was nominated for the rank of sergeant after he captured a German spy all by himself. When the war was over, Corporal Conroy and Sergeant Stubby returned home together. Stubby enjoyed life back home as a celebrity. He met with Presidents Wilson, Coolidge, and Harding, and was awarded lifetime memberships to the American Legion and the YMCA. This is a statue of a brown bear named Wojtek, Corporal Wojtek. In 1942, the newly formed Anders Army left the Soviet Union for Iran. They were accompanied by Polish civilians who had been deported following the 1939 Soviet invasion of eastern Poland. Whilst on their way, the soldiers encountered a boy outside of Tehran. The boy had found a bear cub whose mother had been killed by hunters. Irina Bokowicz, a civilian refugee and great niece of General Bolesław Lugozowski, was instantly smitten. She prompted a lieutenant to buy the young bear and spent the next 3 months caring for him at a refugee camp. He was eventually donated to the 22nd Artillery Supply Company and given the name Wojtek, or Happy Warrior, by the soldiers. Wojtek had issues swallowing as a cub, so they fed him condensed milk from an old vodka bottle. Eventually, he was given fruit, marmalade, honey, and syrup. When he was of legal drinking age, they started rewarding him with beer, which became his favorite drink. He later began smoking and eating cigarettes and drank coffee with the other soldiers in the mornings. Wojtek learned to salute when greeted and would even march alongside the soldiers on his hind legs. He followed his company when they fought alongside the British 8th Army in the Italian campaign. However, silly British regulations forbade mascots or pets on their transport ships. To get around this, Wojtek was officially drafted into the Polish army as a private. He was now entitled to his own paybook, rank, and lived with the other soldiers in their tents. During the Battle of Monte Cassino, Wojtek helped his unit by carrying 100-pound crates of artillery shells, never dropping a single one. This commitment to helping his fellow soldiers earned him a promotion to the rank of corporal, and a depiction of a bear carrying an artillery shell became the official emblem of the 22nd Company. After the war, Wojtek retired to Edinburgh Zoo, where he spent the rest of his days relaxing in the sun, eating honey and cigarettes. This is Sergeant Bill from Saskatchewan. He served as the mascot for the 5th Infantry Battalion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force in World War I. He saved the lives of 3 different soldiers by headbutting them into trenches within seconds of incoming artillery shells. He was also arrested once for eating his battalion's personnel roll, and court-martialed for an altercation with another sergeant.
I'm being charged with a crime?
You have the right to consult with a lawyer prior to any further questioning.
This is funny.
This lawyer may be a civilian
That's what
lawyer
this
appointed
is.
by you at your
This
own
is-
expense.
I'm gonna rip the eyes out of your head and piss in your dead skull! You f***ed with the wrong Marine!
Bill survived the war and was honored with the 1914 Star, the General Service Medal, and the Victory Medal for his war efforts. After the war, he retired home to Saskatchewan and raised a loving family. This is a cat. I'm sure you're familiar, but this cat went by the name Unsinkable Sam. Sam originally belonged to a crewman of the German battleship Bismarck. He was on board the ship on the 27th of May, 1941, when the Bismarck sank after a fierce naval battle.
You sunk my battleship.
He was found floating on a board in the Atlantic Ocean and was plucked from the water by the crew of the British destroyer HMS Cossack. Since they didn't know what his name had been before, the crew of the Cossack named their new friend Oscar. They named him Oscar. Oscar served on board the Cossack for a few months as the ship carried out its duties in the Mediterranean Sea and the North Atlantic Ocean, until October, when the Cossack was escorting a convoy from Gibraltar to Great Britain. A German submarine fired a torpedo at the Cossack, blowing off 1/3 of the forward section of the ship. Oscar survived the attack and was brought to the shore of Gibraltar. An attempt was made to tow the Cossack back to shore, but weather conditions made it impossible, and the ship sank to the west of Gibraltar. Now, finally having earned the nickname Unsinkable Sam, our cat was transferred to the aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal, which had played an instrumental role in destroying Sam's first ship, the Bismarck. Life was good, until, you guessed it, another pesky torpedo hit the Ark Royal and sank it. The ship sank slowly enough that all crew members, except for one, survived. Sam was found clinging to a floating plank and was described as angry, but quite unharmed. The loss of the HMS Ark Royal marked the end of Sam's seafaring career. He spent the rest of his days in the UK living in Belfast at a seaman's house called the Home for Sailors. A portrait of Sam was painted by artist Georgina Shaw Baker to commemorate the unsinkable kitty and is now in the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. Some party poopers question the authenticity of Sam's biography, as there is no mention of it in Ludovic Kennedy's detailed account of the sinking of the Bismarck. But it'd be way cooler if it was true, so who gives a shit? Like and subscribe.